Welcome everybody to Live Audio Wrestling's preview of WWE Battleground, and I am Wai Ting, filling in for John Pollock, who will be back next week, but I'm very excited to talk to you. This is like our first show together, Jimmy.
I know, and how long, I mean, I've been doing this for several years, and obviously you've been here a lot longer than I have, and it's like, this is the first time, the meeting of two worlds here. Review Away meets Review a Ref? Or preview a ref. I don't know.
Preview a ref. Is that what we call these things?
No, I just made that up.
Preview a ref. I don't mind it. But yeah, it's been a while. Like we did a bunch of shows as a trio together, but never you and I. So
right.
Good opportunity with John away. I get to talk to a lot of people.
He needs a break, you know.
Yeah. Once in a while.
Sure.
But then I'll need a break after this week. But let's talk about Battleground. You guys typically start top to bottom, main event to the lowest one?
I just follow his lead. I'm going to follow your lead.
Oh, let me make it up then.
Do.
We'll start from the top as well.
Yeah.
WWE Champion Jinder Mahal takes on Randy Orton in a Punjabi prison match. And the lead up to this match, Jinder has beaten Randy 2 times with the help of the Singh brothers. Before we get to the match itself, your thoughts on the build this month as we head towards our third match between these two?
The one thing I do like about the build to this match is we haven't been seeing Jinder Mahal in the ring a lot. It's more him doing a lot of promo work and you know, obviously with the Singh brothers. I'm enjoying their... he's getting more comfortable on the mic, which is good for him. You know, I like the fact that Randy is still, you know, chasing as a babyface, but this does feel like it's going to be the end of the rivalry or the feud or whatever you want to call it. I kind of like the idea of bringing back the Punjabi prison. Maybe they could rectify all the sins of the past from the past 2 Punjabi prison matches because I hate to say it, the 2 previous ones did not deliver. I have a feeling that with the help of Randy Orton in this one and an improving Jinder Mahal, and of course you have the Singh brothers who are just bumping machines, I think this one could be very entertaining.
How do you see the Singh brothers being involved in this one? Because they did specifically make mention that in this particular match, Jinder has effectively sequestered himself from the Singh brothers, his only advantage.
Yeah, they're there, so obviously I figure they're going to have to factor in somehow, especially when the Punjabi prison has those 4 trap doors. I'm figuring somehow, somewhere, some way that they're going to finagle their way into the structure using the trap door, because when one opens, it's only open for a specific amount of time. I believe it's 60 seconds before it gets shut and locked, and the only way out is to climb over now. So I'm just worried that one of those poor guys is going to take a bump off the top of that thing.
Oh, you know he is.
Yeah.
Or you know, one of them will take something, or maybe both of them will do something probably very dangerous.
Yeah.
Coming off of that, but. What are your memories of being involved with the Punjabi prison?
Yeah, I was involved in the second one, which was Batista versus the Great Khali, and it's very difficult from a fan's perspective. I mean, like you know, like from us working the match, it's kind of a little different. Like, you know, we're more paying attention to being involved in the match and trying to help the talent along as, you know, passing time cues, whatever the case may be, but. From a visual standpoint, if you're in the audience and you have to look through 2 separate structures, it's very difficult for them to watch. So for them, I'm assuming that most people in the arena would be watching the, you know, the screens because, you know, you get the camera shots are the best shots you're going to get. And it's just a difficult structure to work around. It's not the same as a... it doesn't have the same feel as a Hell in a Cell or even a traditional cage match. It just... It's more visual than anything else, and I don't know.
You're not a fan, it sounds.
Not entirely, but I'm optimistic that this time it can deliver because of the people involved in it.
Right. What do you think are some of the difficulties in trying to make a match like this interesting? Because as a fan, you know, visuals aside, I'll say like the rules can be a little complicated, you know, and I think. It has to take a great level of creativity in order to kind of take advantage of a lot of those rules.
Right.
Do you, for the 2 performers involved here, what do you think they have to do in order to make this an interesting match that makes the gimmick worthwhile?
I think if they keep it traditional, like Randy Orton works as a traditional babyface. Well, he's not a traditional babyface, so obviously we're not going to see that from him. But you know, Jinder Mahal has to be I think more along the lines of an old JBL type. I mean, like that was the analogy that people have been making since this transformation of him becoming, WWE champion. That obvious comparison to JBL. I think he has to be more like him with his in-ring presentation as well, where he talks a tough game. He's a bit of a chicken, you know what, until he gets on top, and then he takes advantage of situations. I think if they keep it into a storytelling type of match as opposed to trying to make it a spot fest and just go out crazy. And in today's WWE, we're not going to get the ridiculous spot fests and crazy bumps. We may get the one crazy bump, and a build towards it, but that's going to be the challenge, is keeping people engaged, especially in today's audience where there seems to be that disconnect between guys that they view as their favorites, and sometimes they don't give it a chance. I think if they just sit back and give it a chance, I think I'm hoping that they will be surprised by how good this match may be, actually.
Yeah, I don't see fans turning on this match at all. I think like the crowd reaction for the past two matches between Jinder and Orton have been pretty hot, I'll say. So I expect the same here. And if you do have a Singh brother falling from the top of the cage, I think that'll definitely make the match. Not to say they have to do that. Not to say I want them to do that. Right. So I feel like you're probably in agreement that Jinder probably goes on to win this. Goes on to SummerSlam.
I think so. I think he has to. I think it just makes perfect sense. I think he's growing into the character more. He's growing on me as a WWE champion. I like the fact that he seems to be more comfortable, like I said, on the mic and stuff like that. So it's good for him.
What do you think happens to Randy coming out of this?
Randy is one of those rare people in this at this stage in his career where he's almost like in that Jericho, Chris Jericho section where he's over. He's going to remain over, regardless of whether he wins or loses, regardless of who he's going to be paired up with in the future. Wins and losses for him don't matter at this point. So whatever is in the future for him, I'm trying to think down the line and who could be next for him. I
think a Kevin Owens, maybe.
Maybe. See, he's at that stage now, kind of like a Big Show, where Big Show is now paired off with Cass to help elevate Cass.
Yep.
Randy Orton is a guy on SmackDown now that could be the guy to elevate a guy like maybe a Baron Corbin or someone who needs that extra little push.
Right. Up next, we got John Cena taking on Rusev in a flag match. Both men have made their returns to SmackDown in recent weeks, and they're currently engaged in an angle that's pretty much very easy to understand. Straight out of the 80s, it's USA versus the Soviet Union. And I think it's rather smart for a John Cena program to attach himself more towards that patriotic role, because as much as people want to boo John Cena, you're not getting many people who are going to want to boo the U.S. in America. So what are your thoughts on this match?
No, I agree with that sentiment. And I think that's the reason why that they chose this direction for John Cena's return and for Rusev's return, because you obviously want to get heat on Rusev, and you want John Cena is the face of the company still to this as we speak. So, people have, as much as they boo John Cena, I think there is still that amount of respect for John Cena, and fans seem to have come to the realization that he, I know JBL calls him Big Match John, but he isn't wrong. You know what I mean? Like, he does deliver in matches, and what he lacks in actual technical ability, he more than makes up for in his storytelling in the matches and being able to hang with guys like AJ Styles and the rest of them. So,
and also the crowd reaction that he brings.
And regardless of whether it's cheers or boos, that's the main thing. And I've said this many times. It's just, you want a reaction. That's the name of the game, is to get a reaction. The worst reaction you can get is crickets. And I like the fact that they made it a flag match, like you said, and made it very patriotic. And also, it gives Rusev a little bit of an out because he could lose the match without being pinned. So, I think that doesn't hurt him as much as taking a pinfall loss to John Cena would.
Personally, I see this very much as a reestablisher for both characters, predominantly Cena, as he heads towards a bigger program at SummerSlam. And they've really kind of teased the whole free agency thing with Cena. This is him obviously against a SmackDown guy, but for SummerSlam, who do you see him against?
It would be interesting, and depending on the direction they're going with Brock Lesnar for SummerSlam, that seems to be going, as we see after Monday night, a possible four-way. I mean, that's in the conversation, I think, right now. The interesting match for me would be John Cena versus Roman Reigns, because you have the two most polarizing figures in the WWE facing each other. I think that would be an interesting matchup. And can you imagine the reaction in Brooklyn?
I think both of them would get booed.
But it would be insane. The crowd reaction would be insane.
I definitely look forward to that at some point. I don't see them doing it towards SummerSlam. I think Roman is probably pegged into that four-way. But could you see Cena Jinder perhaps at SummerSlam?
That's a definite possibility if he's staying on the SmackDown side.
Playing on the whole patriotic thing that they're trying to build with this match.
It almost seems like a natural, and obviously Cena chasing that elusive 17th championship to break Ric Flair's record, which of course is debatable. The 16 times minus a few little uncredited ones in there. Let's put it that way. But 16 is the number that they're throwing out there. But it makes perfect sense for him to be chasing Jinder Mahal. And can you imagine what a boost it would be for Jinder Mahal's career to get past, again, the face that runs the place?
100%. Up next, we got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship with the Usos taking on the New Day. And the Usos are finally beginning to establish their personalities, I would say, this month. And I think the highlight, of course, of this build has been the rap battle. I know you're a huge fan of hip-hop, Jimmy. Who won that rap battle?
To me, it's kind of like a trade in hockey. The guy who gets the best player wins the trade. That's my opinion. The guy who has the best line in the rap battle wins the rap battle. And the Usos had the best line that was probably edited out afterwards and post-haste, regarding Xavier Woods. I won't repeat it here, but
that is the best line.
But I thought that was the best line of and it came out of nowhere. It came out of left field. It was very surprising. I'm surprised it actually was presented on television, and because of that line,
live.
At live TV. See what happens when you get a live mic? Anything can happen. So, in my opinion, they won the rap battle.
I think most of the world would be in agreement with you. And I thought that segment came across so well and generated, I think, so much online buzz that I'd be surprised if they don't do something similar in the future with these teams. A quick correction from a review of SmackDown: Jimmy Uso actually defeated Kofi this week and not the other way around, which I incorrectly stated. So both teams have split singles wins heading into this match. What do you think happens in this one?
I'm really enjoying. I don't think it's the right time for the New Day to be SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I'm like you said, I'm enjoying the Usos. They found their groove. I think they found their niche. Being as the old saying goes, the old white meat baby faces, yay, and I enjoyed that. But at the same time, they are much more entertaining as heels, and they seem to be having fun. And when the talent is having fun, and you can feel that they're having fun, it translates, and the audience, also, gets behind it. And I'm loving the use. I hope they retain and actually keep it for a while.
I'm with you that the New Day certainly don't need the belts. I think when they had the Raw championships or the WWE championships on Raw, I don't necessarily feel like they were gaining all too much, and they were just kind of placeholders for that belt for a long, long time. I think instead of belts, what they really need is to show some struggle and suffering. So I would like to see something actually bad happen to them for once, and for them to actually, sell the consequences of something bad happening. And I think a loss here, again, to the Usos would help that storyline.
Yeah, I agree with that, because you're not feeling any sympathy.
No, they're just smiling all the time.
Yeah. I mean, even through the bad stuff, they're always smiling. And if the heel is not getting under your skin, why would the audience care?
Now, part of the issue is, though, on the SmackDown side, you don't necessarily have too many, I would say main event level tag teams for the Usos to continue to feud with. So, I mean, Breezango is certainly, catching a lot of attention, but they're not going to necessarily get a match with the Usos, I don't think, for SummerSlam. can this program with the New Day extend all the way to SummerSlam?
Obviously, it can, depending on the presentation in this match and how they come up with a finish that would constitute a rematch. You know, that's the main thing. The interesting thing is, I'm not sure whether they announced which two. Is it going to be 3-on-2? Is it which two members of New Day?
It won't be 3-on-2. It'll be 2-on-2.
So it's 2-on-2, and which two members of New Day are going to be facing the Usos? Either way, I'm expecting a good match from these guys.
Yeah.
I think it's going to deliver again. It's all in being creative in the way you do it. I think sometimes, especially in the WWE lately, it almost seems like they try to get too creative with their finishes to lead to the next match, and it kind of leaves you flat, you know. And you have to remember sometimes the last thing that people remember is the end of the match. You can have a fantastic match, and then you have a finish that kind of like leaves people going, eh.
Like last month with the countout finish.
Yeah,
and the Usos, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand where they want to go with it. They want to get to the rematch, but at the same time, you had a really good match that people forgot about because of the finish.
Up next, we got Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Baron Corbin. And at the Money in the Bank match, Corbin attacked Nakamura from behind during his entrance and took him out of most of that match. And so in the weeks following, Corbin has been repeatedly trying to sneak attack Nakamura. These two have been brawling. They just want to fight. What do you think of this match?
I like the matchup. My concern is Baron Corbin obviously needs, you know, he probably needs the win, but Shinsuke Nakamura needs a win here as well. I mean, like he's being billed as their rock star for SmackDown. He's the guy that, you know, he's the future. So in a sense, you can kind of you have an out with Baron Corbin holding the Money in the Bank briefcase because you know. Even if he loses the match, he could still be, you know, strutting around saying, you know, you got lucky. I still have this. You know, that's one way you can get out of it. But in some fans' eyes, that's you know, losing is not good. Yes. But at the same time, like I said, Shinsuke Nakamura, since arriving on the main roster, we haven't had that same feeling about him in his matches that we've been seeing, that we saw in NXT, for example. I think Baron Corbin has progressed well. I'm just going to be interested to see if these two guys can mesh well in the ring. It's going to be an interesting. It may be more of a fight presented as a fight as opposed to a wrestling match. So, in that sense, I think that helps Baron Corbin a lot because. He's been able to hang with the guys. Like this past week on SmackDown, we saw that he was able to hang in that tag team main event. But Shinsuke is a different level. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I'm curious to know how Shinsuke will do in that brawling style all around the ring. Because as far as I remember, they don't do a ton of that in their New Japan matches. I do wonder about the clash of styles, you know, in a match like this. I'm with you. I don't think Nakamura can afford the loss as much as Baron Corbin can right now. So I hope Nakamura gets a strong win over Corbin and Corbin still leaves with that briefcase. Do you think we get any type of a tease of a cash-in on this show, either from him or Carmella?
I would expect it more from Carmella. Well,
Naomi doesn't have a match,
so she can't. So
but she can still get laid out somehow. Naomi, you know, we know Naomi will be entering ringside to congratulate the winner. It wouldn't take much for Natalya or Tamina to lay her out.
He's thinking, I like that. See, because there you go. Because it technically says anytime, anywhere. Yeah. So if she entered the ring to congratulate, like you said, and gets laid out because there's 5 ladies in there.
Maybe. Well, up next we got United States Championship. AJ Styles, the champion, takes on Kevin Owens. And Styles, of course, surprisingly defeated Owens for the belt at an MSG house show this month. They seem to have a lot building with the U.S. title run of Kevin Owens that they seem to have abruptly ended. And my thinking is for them to change course so suddenly, I can only imagine that they just decided that they had bigger plans for AJ with that belt heading towards SummerSlam. So my feeling is that he retains. What's your thought?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's interesting because, like you said, they had built up that he's the new face of America, Kevin Owens, and then you know, at a live event at Madison Square Garden, there you go, you have the title change. AJ Styles with the United States Championship obviously elevates that title, as Kevin Owens did as well. This match, I think, I think a lot of people are predicting it to be match of the night, as well as me. I'm really looking forward to this match. I look forward to pretty much everything AJ Styles and Kevin Owens do these days. They're phenomenal, no pun intended. I don't see a title change here. I think it's too soon after the most recent title change. And like you said, I think there is big plans, but I also think there's a bigger plans ahead for Kevin Owens as well. So I don't know what that is just yet, but I'm sure he figures into things as well. So I think AJ Styles retains here, continues to elevate that U.S. Championship, especially considering lately with the WWE Championship with Jinder Mahal, he hasn't been appearing on television, so it's going to be their main focus on television is going to be the U.S. Championship.
It's funny how they've already, in the 2 weeks since AJ has won the belt, they've already linked so many people to him gunning for that U.S. belt. They linked Cena to it last week. This week we had a Nakamura tease. And of course you have somebody like a Rusev who is easily, always pre-written into that kind of American storyline with a babyface American holding that U.S. belt. So there are plenty of people for AJ to break off of. And it's almost like you said, more people are gunning for this U.S. championship than the World Championship all of a sudden. Yeah. So we'll see what happens coming out of it.
It's very interesting. It's a nice parallel that you drew there with the U.S. Championship and how they have, like you said, John Cena is in the picture, Nakamura is in the picture. You can also throw in Kevin Owens and others, kind of like what they did with the Universal Championship and Brock Lesnar, and they have the contenders. Right. You have your Finn Balor's there. You have your Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman. I mean, like there's options going forward where you're not pigeonholed into one scenario.
Up next for the women, we have Charlotte taking on Becky, taking on Natalya versus Tamina versus Lana in a 5-way elimination match for the #1 contendership for Naomi's championship at SummerSlam. It's our second multi-woman, #1 contenders match, if you consider the Money in the Bank a #1 contenders match. So, but this time the main story is that Tamina and Lana have been working on some type of secret pact. They're putting a lot of heat on Lana here. Do you think she could possibly come out of this with the title shot at SummerSlam, another shot against Naomi?
I think it's the perfect heel tactic. And Tamina, similar to Nia Jax, will probably assist her in taking out most of the female competitors in that match and help her to win it. I could see that happening very, very easily, and it just seems to be an ongoing thing between her and Naomi the entire time. So, and then going back to what you said earlier, where Naomi would come in to congratulate Lana and have Tamina attack her from behind, then you have Carmella cashing in. I mean, it's all possible.
Is that your prediction, Jimmy? Do we get a successful cash-in on this show? Because we know how they don't love to have two Money in the Banks at the same time. So I could see a relatively quick cash-in. This one, I think, is a show where nobody really expects it because Naomi has no match, so it makes no sense. So I could see them doing it. I could certainly see them teasing it simply because Naomi nor Carmella really have a role on this show. But heading into SummerSlam with Carmella the champion, is that the smartest move?
Well, it's the old wrestling adage where the babyface chasing is the money is in the babyface chasing. So I could see that, but that at the same time, do you do the title change at Battleground and then you have Naomi chasing at SummerSlam and winning the title back so quickly? I mean,
it's kind of what she did at WrestleMania, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, I just don't like the frequent title changes happening that frequently.
We're talking about all these pieces, but of course we're not mentioning Charlotte nor Becky, who are the two biggest stars in the division. What do you think happens to them coming out of Battleground?
Again, it was teased this week that they may have some issues. I can see that Charlotte going back to her old heel ways, like she was on Raw. I mean, I could see them, branching off and having their own rivalry, which will take them out of the title picture for a little while, and also give more stories to the women instead of having it all revolve around the championship. You have, different storylines and different rivalries.
Do you think there's difficulty in booking for a bigger show like a dual brand show, as they call them now, with like a SummerSlam, having to fit so many different storylines now into that one singular show?
I don't think it's any more challenging than any other pay-per-view. I mean, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, SummerSlam is probably going to be longer than their normal 3-hour window for a pay-per-view. It is their own network, so they don't care. They can take as much time as they want. So there'll probably be more opportunities on the pre-show, which will get some people upset that match X is on the pre-show. It should be on the actual pay-per-view proper or whatever. So they have lots of time to get it out there. It all in structuring the show. What is important to them, and unfortunately, some people get left off the show. But the main storylines that they're working on right now, they'll fit it.
Yeah. This match, I don't recall them officially announcing it, but I saw it on the website, and I believe this is officially part of the show. We got Sami Zayn versus Mike Kanellis, which will probably be some type of buffer bout, maybe. I don't even think it'll start the show. It might be on the kickoff, who knows? But Sami Zayn versus Mike Kanellis, a rematch of what they had, a match they had on SmackDown this week. The Kanellises made their debut at Money in the Bank, and Sami Zayn has been interrupting their segments, whether intentional or unintentional, and this has led to the Kanellises attacking him, defeating him in a match this week. What are your thoughts on the Kanellises gimmick?
I like what they're trying to, where they're going with it, and what they're trying to do, but I just think it takes away from Mike Bennett. To me, is one of the most talented wrestlers out there. And I saw his work in ROH and then later on in TNA, which I think. He was utilized pretty well in TNA. We got to see a lot more of his on a bigger platform, so to speak. A lot of upside potential with him. I just think that having him being the side piece to Maria, it feels like, and I don't know. I get that's the character, but at the same time, it doesn't allow him to showcase his talents. If you know what I mean, his talents are getting overshadowed by the gimmick that he's been put in.
My concerns are just, this is such a, I think, so much of a character, and not necessarily a character that you can really take seriously at this point, that I'm concerned how far he'll go in this current incarnation. But then again, this is only the first match he's having in his first run. It could very well just be an introduction that they can evolve later on.
Yeah, actually, I have a greater concern with Sami Zayn, because as much as I like Sami Zayn and how talented Sami Zayn and underutilized Sami Zayn is, it's almost like he's become the new Dolph Ziggler. Here's a guy that is so talented that could work with anybody and have a great match with anybody, that he's our new utility guy. We need to get this guy over. Sami can do it. We need somebody to look good in this match. Sami could do it. And that's basically what happened to Dolph Ziggler.
What do you think it'll take for somebody like a Sami Zayn to kind of get out of this role? And I mean, I think we know what the fans want out of him, but having worked for the company for such a long time, what can he do to kind of impress people that are in charge in order to give him a better spot?
I think see, that's tough, because once you get pigeonholed into that spot where the company views you as that utility guy, as the go-to guy, as a guy they could count on to help, basically plug you into any position. You know what I mean? It's hard to get out of that spot, but and it's that double-edged sword where they tell you to take chances, but at the same time, if you take that chance and it doesn't get over, that could be a detriment to your going forward. But if you do take that chance and it happens to click, then they go, they perk up, their ears perk up. Now it's all of a sudden, it worked. Maybe Sami needs to do that. Maybe he needs to take a chance and do something a little bit outside the box and outside of the structure that they have him in. That's what the live events are for. Maybe at the live events he could, try something. What I'd like to see from Sami, I'd like to see him, especially today, it's hard to do, turn heel, because you know, if he turns heel, there's going to be that segment of the audience that is still going to cheer him and like him, and it's.
I wonder how that'll look with Sami Zayn, because he's a guy who I just consider a permanent babyface.
Yeah, I know.
Mask or not.
But in his current incarnation, the way he talks and the way he's kind of like, he could be that yappy guy that just annoys people. You know, because he's always strategizing.
That's kind of what he's playing.
Yeah,
backstage.
Backstage, and if there's a way to turn that up into a sense where people get kind of annoyed by it, I'll give you. I don't know if this is a good example, but it's kind of like the Enzo character right now. He's like that yappy little dog that just won't shut up. To me, I know he's a great talker. He's very creative on the microphone, but a
little annoying, bordering on annoying.
Well, for me, it's past border.
Yeah.
I'm already annoyed. I mean, like, how many different ways can you come up with saying the same thing over and over? Which is the last pay-per-view I tweeted. He came out for his promo. I said I went out. I had a cigar. I, went to the bathroom, made popcorn. I came back. He was still talking.
Yeah.
They've
been letting him go for a little long.
A little too long. Yeah.
Sami, though, I feel like is so likable, and that he doesn't. I don't get the sense. I'm sure like maybe people who actually work with him find him a little annoying, but to see his character on TV, to see his work on TV, he just seems like a great babyface promo, in my opinion. I think he's got a similar thing to what was happening to Daniel Bryan, to an extent what was happening to maybe a guy like a CM Punk. So therefore, I think he needs to kind of just have that breakout, whether it be a promo or just something to really kind of get the audience behind him. He doesn't have quite the support that Bryan did when he was being put in similar situations. And I don't know if that's because the audience doesn't feel the same connection with Sami Zayn, but I think it's up to Zayn to kind of build that however he can with the limited amount of time he's given.
Right. And as much as I'm not like a big fan of these work-shoot promo styles, like you said, maybe that would be a benefit for him to kind of, in the spirit of CM Punk, deliver his own pipe bomb, for lack of a better term, and maybe that's what he needs to get him over the hump.
We also have Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English, I believe, on the Kickoff show. I don't really have anything to say about that. I believe it'll kind of just be a match. Yeah. If you have any thoughts, feel free, Jimmy.
No, just I like Ty Dillinger. I think he's very talented. I'm just worried that he won't get over, but the 10 chants get over more than he does, and that was what I was worried about with Daniel Bryan, that the yes chant would be more over than Daniel Bryan. I think in this case the 10 chant is more over than Ty, and that's unfortunate because he is very talented.
With Ty, I kind of see him kind of like kind of like what they had with Tyler Breeze, a guy I think who had a respectable amount of following from NXT, and then almost like was just forced to go up to the main roster, either because he's had such a long tenure in NXT or because they just saw great timing with the 10 chants, right? And the 10 chants are very much over, but I just get the sense on SmackDown they don't really know what they're doing with him, or that they're simply waiting in order to kind of do something bigger with him. The Kickoff show, he'll probably win, but then we'll see what else happens. SmackDown seems to have a number of those guys right now, including Eric Rowan, including Luke Harper.
Again, underutilized.
Yeah. And that leads us to the last segment that we'll discuss, and that's Breezango and their chase for the person who's been attacking I guess destroying their set, attacked Tyler Breeze, and of course killed their stick horse, Tully. Who is behind this mystery?
I wish I could tell you. I will say this though. I mean, I know a lot of people are not fans of comedy and wrestling, and they say that funny doesn't draw money, and that's it. But there is a place for comedy when done funny. These guys are enjoying it. You can tell they're having fun doing it. So if they're having fun doing it, they don't have a problem with it. I'm entertained by it because I can make that disconnect between wrestling and the entertainment aspect of it. So I'm having fun watching it. I like the little jabs, like the almost like a little homage to Seven with what's in the box kind of thing, and then obviously a little horse's head is a Godfather. And
I'm waiting for Jimmy Korderas to make an appearance up on that board.
Oh no! Well, Tony Chimmel's enough. I think the Tony Chimmel one is.
That would be the best. But those things are packed with little Easter eggs that I think the internet spends a lot of time rewatching just to kind of unpack.
Right.
They've been a lot of fun, I think. You know, I wonder who this is. Some people are actually suggesting Harper and Rowan simply because they're the kind of odd men out amongst the roster. I personally can't see it. I can't see Harper and Rowan, two big characters, very serious characters, being involved in decapitating stick horses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Perhaps it'll lead to some type of outside kind of, you know, thing that doesn't even result in a match. Maybe some type of celebrity appearance at SummerSlam.
Oh, that's interesting. Who can we get in a celebrity?
Somebody from New York, a duo from New York, like maybe like a Kathy Lee and Hoda.
Oh, no,
that's my prediction.
No, that didn't work out last time too well, did it?
No, it did not.
No. Man, I don't know. Maybe we can get Ryan Seacrest and Kelly. Since they seem
that's right. Wow.
You know what would be fun?
Ryan Seacrest would get huge heel heat.
Of course. But you know what would be fun would be a guy like a Michael Strahan or somebody like that.
I think he'd be great. I'm surprised he hasn't done anything. Has he done any wrestling things before?
Not that I could think of. Anyways.
I mean, Cena hosts that show occasionally, so I think that's automatically in.
Yeah.
Finally, we want to talk about the cancellation of Talking Smack announced last week, but of course, it'll be making its reappearance only at pay-per-views, and so we'll get one at the end of this. Do you have any predictions for Talking Smack?
Probably there'll be some subtle jabs at the cancellation of the weekly show for sure. I'm just curious to see if after the pay-per-view, is it going to feel as organic as it did previously, because we don't know the reports whether. I mean, there's one out there that says Vince wasn't happy with the unscripted nature of the show, which I don't know if I buy it, because the show was entertaining. It got a lot of buzz. It gave people some freedom to express themselves in different ways in a less structured as atmosphere, and I thought it was working very well for guys like Miz, who flourished at that, helping Baron Corbin, helping others. Kevin Owens has been fantastic on that show. And, of course, the only problem I had with it was when it got moved to after 205 Live, there was that disconnect, because first you had the disconnect from going from regular television to web to watch, unless you're in Canada and we get it on, like, linear television. But anyway. Then you had that 45-minute disconnect, which
more than 45 most weeks.
Depending, like on how long 205 Live was, and I found even myself at times not sticking around to watch it and trying to catch up and watch it maybe at a later time. So I could understand if the reasoning was viewership. I can understand it. I just liked, but I did like the fact that people. You either went out there and you nailed it or you didn't.
Yeah.
But you were given that opportunity to succeed and fail. And I think that's what's missing with a lot of promos on the regular television shows. Guys aren't given the opportunity to succeed or fail on their own.
And from Talking Smack, like most of the talking, because it is a conversation and a lot of improv work, everything felt a lot more organic, for better or worse. With this edition of Talking Smack that's coming up, I see them being a lot more kind of careful with the content that's available on it. Maybe a bit more controlled, maybe a few more bullet points than typical. And maybe then I see them possibly working in some bigger storylines into Talking Smack, especially coming from the attention of the past week. Them probably feeling like a lot of people will be watching this one. So maybe we can expect that. Maybe the cash-in will happen on Talking Smack. Has that ever happened? No, that can't happen.
It doesn't have the 24/7 rule, does it? Like where you can anywhere.
Yeah, I guess not. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
What is the official rule of the Money in the Bank briefcase? Does a referee have to be there? Obviously,
yes.
And then does it have to be in the arena?
It has to take place in the ring. It does have to take place in the ring.
So what if it's a Falls Count Anywhere match?
If it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, then that's a different scenario.
What if I want to have the Falls Count Anywhere match with my contract?
No, I don't think you can create the stipulation with the briefcase. It basically, you take advantage of
but I can enter whatever match that's currently taking place.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That'll probably be the rule until they decide to change it.
Yeah. Well, it is the rule this week.
It is the rule this week.
This week.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. This was Preview or Ref, according to Jimmy. I don't know if that's the official title or not.
I don't know. We'll go with it for now.
Preview or Ref with Jimmy Korderas.
If I may, just one real quick thing, because my friends, you know, I hate the I'm not a plug machine, but my friends at Smash Wrestling are now on the Fight Network, and if you get a chance to watch it, you know, the content is really good. They have a really good product, and they're on Thursday nights at 10 p.m. after Impact. No.
GFW Impact. It's still Impact.
It's still Impact, but it's GFW Impact.
Yes.
So if you have an opportunity, check them out on the Fight Network. I don't think you'll be disappointed, and you may see a semi-retired ref there every once in a while.
That is right. And also go to their shows. Like if you're in the Toronto area, they put on shows all the time. Like once a month now. They're doing
pretty
shows?
much once a month. And lately they've been running the Phoenix Concert Theater, which is a great venue.
Yeah, and those will a lot of them will be tapings for the Fight Network, so do check that out. And thank you, Jimmy, for joining me. It was a lot of fun. I hope we get to do it more again sometime.
Hey, John, sorry.
Have another kid, John.
Yeah.
So we'll be back. John will be back on Monday. Talk to you guys then.